Coach Sullivan here again with MJS Coaching Football. To my subscribers, I thank you. Non-subscribers, I'm hoping I can tease you into pushing that button. I completed my 38th year coaching football this past fall. I was a defensive coordinator, but over that time I've also been an offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, longtime head coach, and all of this at both the collegiate and high school levels. In this presentation, I want to talk to you about our match quarters variation that we call Gray 3 versus a two-man route concept that we call Ohio Switch. So non-subscribers, if you push that button, you have access to how we defend Ohio out of both Gray 3 and Gray 4. So what I have over here are the key terms as it would relate to defending Ohio Switch out of our match quarters variation, Gray 3. And then over here, I'm going to bring it all to life for you, okay? So first term is very important. It's called the surface. And what the surface is to us is the offensive line. And when there's a tight end in the formation, like there is here, on that side, he becomes part of the surface. Okay, so for us, tackle, guard, center guard, tackle, always the surface. They show you run, pass, direction, and when there's a tight end, he's part of the surface on that side as well. Okay, so we're going to have 8 defenders in coverage. Instead of saying 8 times surface to right, the surface, the offensive line, is showing hi-hats, pass set. Okay, whether it's hard or soft set, doesn't matter for this presentation. But the 5 offensive linemen, hi-hatting it, okay? So, that's the surface. The next one is our mantra in our match quarters, okay? Excuse me. And that is, read number 2 tells you what to do. Read number 2 tells you what to do. And in this case, number 2 is running an out at 5. Now, depending on quarterback arm strength, it might be 5 to 7 or the part of the field, right? Red zone, goal line, maybe it's not quite even 5, but he's running by far and away an out route under 10, okay? And so number 3, Ohio, double O's, we use states non-subscribers, and we teach how the state's name signifies or symbolizes the two-man route concept, right? Double out, double O. It's how we present it to our players. Ohio Switch is a double out concept, and what the switch means to us. Number 2 and 1 exchange routes. So the routes that they run in Ohio, they switch. Who does what? So now number 2 is doing the shorter route, and number 1's doing the deeper route. That's what switch means to us. And so it's going to change how we defend the concept, as you'll see. Again, non-subscribers, you're going to have to push that button. Doesn't cost anything. And so the reason I'm going to show it to you in an 11 formation is the 2 different techniques used by in this case, detached outside linebacker in space, and no, the D has nothing to do with it. He's called our dime, freebie non-subscribers, versus an attached outside linebacker that's on the tight end. Okay? So the detached, they always, in our match quarters on surface, they expand to 1. In this case, they don't have to worry about 1. But then they're going to cut number 2. I'm going to show this is the big change here from Ohio to Ohio Switch in our grade 3 variation. And then they have to carry a wall to wheel, should it become one. Woo! Big part of the diagram. The only difference, but it's a huge difference, between the detached in space outside linebacker number 5, the attached on a tight end, is just that. He has to knock back first. And then he will expand, cut number 2, carrying wall, wheel, okay? But that's a huge difference, so I'll show you that in the diagram. Our 2 corners in number 6, boundary and field, they got number 1 man. I'm going to show it to you in off, but we can also run it in press. Our alignments are the skies. They're lining up like they always do with outside leverage. They're at 7, right? Bada bing, bada boom. But then on the snap, things are going to change. That's what makes this tough on a quarterback. He looks out, or the guy in the press box sees the same thing. Then when the ball's snapped, it's too late for the guy in the press box. The quarterback's going to have to figure it out real fast, okay? So our number 7, our 2 safeties, the whip and the free, they're going to zone off, and then it's just read quarterback indicator. And again, I'll show you that, okay? And then last but not least, the inside linebackers, right? Running back 2 will mirror the Q. Big difference how they're going to defend flaring running back now versus how they did in Ohio. Non-subscribers. All right, so now over here. First of all, let's talk about what this means. It's 9-on-9 football, okay? Gray is our quarters. When we put a number on it, it becomes match quarters, and the number signifies how many defenders are reading number 2. So, gray 3, there are 3 defenders reading number 2. Outside, inside linebackers and the safety on both sides. So before I say another word, this is not a split coverage. It's one coverage. It operates independently of each other. So they're reading this number 2. They're reading that number 2. I'm showing you Ohio switch on both sides for the outside linebacker technique difference. But usually you get Ohio switch on one side, you get California or something different on the other side, right? So it's one coverage operating independently. So first one I'm going to go over here is with the corners. And that will help us to get to the 9-on-9 football. So again, everything stays the same, okay? They too read the surface, so they're available in run support. If they see run blocking, they're going to not cover number 1, okay? But they see pass, now they're going to stem inside, and it'll be all becomes about playing man principles on number 1. So as they stem, they read the surface, it's pass, their world becomes number 1. They then execute all off-man principles. If we're in press, I'll just show you on 1. I'm going to do it in black. Actually, it'd be easier over here. He'd start off in the zone press. Again, we want to show that we're in our zone, right? And then on the quarterback snap indicator, he would stem late and then play all press man principles, okay? But either way, number 1 is not a part of anybody else's thinking. So that is how we arrive at, and this is how we teach when we install grade 3 in the spring or preseason. We then erase the number 1 receiver in our corner, and see, that's how we arrive at 9-on-9 football. Because now it becomes, how do we defend number 2? Okay? So in Ohio switch, number 1 was running the deeper route on both sides, but I'm going to show it to you. He's covered by the corner. So now number 2 is running the more shallow route. So see, in grade 3, and this is why we teach it. In fact, when we install it, and even in our huddle playbook, they're presented with grade 3, 9-on-9. So when we show 2's out, the players usually to figure it out quick. It's got to be the outside linebackers, and ding, 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 ding. That's the correct answer. So that is why, and I'm going to start off here with the attached. Okay, first of all, the knockback of the 11 defenders, the rover on the tight ends, the only one, he doesn't have a visual key and a pressure key. He's got a visual pressure key. He's one guy, the tight end. So that tight end moves, knock back every time. Oh, we love it. We're very good at knocking back tight ends and mugging them. He's going to hear pass call from his other buddies. We teach here, keep your feet moving. As soon as you turn, they'll let them go so we don't get called for holding. And then everything stays the same, right? That's when they expand, not so much now, eyes on 1, not subscribers, but in case number 2 is running the shallow out. So that puts him in a position to cut number 2, which means, okay, you're in between the receiver and the quarterback to cut. Get in between the receiver and the quarterback. you now got him man. And so if that becomes a wheel, carry it would mean you had outside leverage. That's probably not likely. Wall it means you had inside leverage. Okay? So that's what's meant by the carrier wall. But he expands, keeping an eye on number 2. So if he sees 2 busting the out, he knows he's cutting it, and that's his guy. Okay? And so it's the same over here, except there's no knockback. It's going to expand. He reads the shallower out, cuts it, and then if it becomes a wheel, he's most likely going to wall it, which means he's got inside leverage, which is ideal. Okay, wall, you're inside, the receiver, you're in between the receiver and the quarterback. Carry, you're on the outside. Okay, if you get caught in the carry, you just live with it. Because I'm going to go to the safeties now. You got help over the top. Because 2's doing, an out, they still mirror the release of 2. So zit step, walk pedal, zone off is they're expanding to number 1. Not to get on top of number 1, but now read the quarterback's indicator. If the quarterback's indicator gives a little pump fake because it's going to be a wheel, now you got the safety help over the top of the wheel. If the quarterback's indicator is level and he looks like he's striding because he's going to try and hit that deep out, then he can come down hard and be on top because the corner should be underneath. Then you got a high-low on that deeper out. You know that guy that's not there because it's 9-on-9 football? All right, so it's the same over here. Walk pedal, zone off, quarterback indicator. Now, I have him drawn like he's getting a lot of depth. He's not. He's going to zone off, and he's going to, not walk, but he's going to be kind of slow. Doesn't want to create a ton of space in case he has to come downhill. Remember, he starts at 12. I say that to the subscribers. Non-subscribers, there's a freebie. One back, he's starting at 12. You don't want to get too much depth because if the deeper out's at 10 and that's where it's going, you don't want to have a lot of space you got to make up. Okay, so that takes care of the corners, the safeties, and outside linebackers. Last and certainly not least are our inside linebackers. So here's the big tweak, right, in Ohio switch. If you still have that flare route, right, they pivot. They see the 2's not to them. Running back 2, mirror the cue, right? Now, you're all by yourself, dude. Go hug him up. Go get him now. Your outside linebacker's not available, which is totally different than Ohio. See, just by exchanging the routes of 2 and 1, totally changed that. Now, what it didn't change is the other linebacker, right? Running back 2 will mirror the cue. Well, running back's away from him again. So mirror is he's spying, but get in the vision of the quarterback. So he's looking in the mirror. He sees you, the linebacker. Okay? So that is how we cover in our match quarters variation grade 3 Ohio switch. So as I said at the beginning, my subscribers, I thank you. Non-subscribers, I hope I've teased you into pushing that button. To everybody, please reach out to me at CoachMJSullivan@gmail.com. Love to talk football with you. I want to thank you for watching MJS Coaching Football, and I'd like to thank YouTube for providing this platform.